Massacre. 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 Don't you love it?
Yeah.
Welcome. Get your greasy little faces closer to the speaker as this is Massacre Radio episode, 50.
This is a big one.
That's right, I'm your host, Membersonly Dave, and I hope you're ready to raise some Kaine, baby. That's right, my guest on today's show is the band Wally World. You don't see too many bands named after a department store, you know. As far as I know, there's no band named Dick's or CVS or Walgreens. But there is a Wally World, and they'll be joining me a little bit later on. Let's see what kind of ruckus these fellas might have been raising after their internet stardom. One can only imagine. We'll get into that and so much more coming up after this. Don't you even think about touching that dial. It's Massacre Radio, baby. Yeah!
You're listening to Massacre Radio.
Boring cuisine got you down? Well, fear not, because I have the ultimate solution for today's listening audience. Consider this and repeat after me. Salad. Do it up any way you like. Carrots, romaine. I think you're getting the picture, but don't take it from me. Just listen to the satisfied customer.
Ever since I started working in more salads, I can finally see my dick after 33 long years. It has more of a reddish hue than I remember, but it works. I'm shooting ropes, baby, and I owe it all to eating salad.
So next time you're hungry or looking for a snack, put yourself first and consider a salad. Society will thank you later. Próximamente después del espectáculo, la relación va bien y finalmente te dejo golpear, no una sino dos veces. Pero cuando ella escupió en tu boca, te corriste más fuerte que nunca. Aceptar tu nueva perversión y más. Justo aquí en WKMA Cleveland, una estación a HD2.
No, I'm not reading a promo for your shitty radio program. I should be out working on the next iPod. Hello, I'm Steve Jobs, and when I'm in the car punching around on my HD2 dial, I always find time for Membersonly Dave on Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. Is that it? I'm late for a fucking meeting. Get the fuck out of my way.
WKMA Cleveland.
Radio with a kick.
Raise some Kaine, make it right. Raise some Kaine, all the time, all the time, all the time.
Massacre Radio.
That's right, you're dialed into Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my guest on today's show. It's the band Wally World, all the way from Encinitas, California. We've got Wally Passet, Benny Petrella, and Loren Kofsky all on the horn. Fellas, thanks so much for making time for me today. I really appreciate it. How we doing?
Good, man, Dave. Rock on.
I'll get to Wally World Band here in just a second, but first, and Wally, I'll start with you. I know you've been in a number of bands leading up to the formation of Wally World. Just talk a little bit about those bands and your history and just, you know, how serious were you in those early days about making it back then? You know, were you always pushing, or what did that look like?
Well, you want to have fun at what you're doing, you know what I mean? And it was, you know, in my younger days, you know, the Snakebite era and all that stuff, you know, we're a little bit crazy. Being in a band's like having a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Eventually you start, you know, if you don't get along completely, you know, sometimes stuff falls apart a little bit. I'm not a manager. I'm just a really good player, and I have no ego. Just kidding.
And, you know, Wally, I'm glad you mentioned it, the band Snakebite that you were formerly in. You know, the spelling of Snakebite, I wanted to ask you. I think it's the number one question on the fans' minds. How did you arrive on the spelling of Snakebite? It's spelled like megabyte with a Y, kind of like a computer-type reference. What precipitated that?
Yeah, so me and Marty were up talking over in his room. You know, he goes, Wally, he goes, what are we going to do with this band? And you know, it had come to our attention that there was another band in England called Snakebite, and we were going as like, you know, snake and then separate B-I-T-E. And Marty's just like, well, hey, you know what? Well, and I'm like, look, we're not going to give up the name, you know? And he's like, well, why don't we just put it in one word, and we'll put a Y in instead of the, you know, the I. And that's how we came about that, you know? And then, you know, it was a trip, man. You know, we were, you know, partying quite a bit back then. So, no, you know, so I always made sure we always had a band meeting every day, man. We were, you know, I was kind of like the Hitler of rock and roll. Yeah.
If you just joined us, you're listening to Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. My guest today, of course, is the band Wally World from Encinitas, California. Wally, I want to get back with you and finish up on the whole Snakebite thing. When you were with Snakebite and you were kind of on the cusp of some major success with an LA Rocks nomination, I hear those are kind of a big deal, and you even played shows at iconic venues like the Troubadour. Wally, I guess in your own words, what do you think held back Snakebite from breaking all the way through? How did that experience shape your approach when you were forming Wally World all these years later?
Well, we had a management company, like we had a manager, and they had a lot of money, and you're going to always go for the people that have the money. So we took a deal with some local people that did, and unfortunately they were hooked up into some, a couple bad areas, and I don't want to get into it in particular because it's going to brings me down. But Ratt kind of took that same level, like back then you basically had to move to LA. We didn't really want to move to LA, but we were able to, like, we had Ben Kay doing production for us, and he wanted all the copyrights, and I had Mike Valley. We were like, no, you're not getting all the copyrights. Okay.
Well, let me stop you right there, Wally. Does any part of you feel like your reluctance to move to LA was something that maybe held you back professionally?
I mean, it didn't really hold us back, but what you needed back then, I'm always like 10 or 15 years behind the times. I'm learning, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
What you needed back then is you needed, and I told these guys this because they had millions of dollars and they were behind us. So, but unfortunately they were strung out on heroin. So, I'll just get in particular. So they were spending the money also, you know what I mean? So, And I told them, I said, we need worldwide production with cassettes back in our album, and we need radio distribution, and unfortunately it didn't get to that point. We did have a deal with MCA. Gosh, we were going to be on some calendar warrant, and a bunch of big bands from back there were on it, and gosh, and we did a lot of stuff.
King Neptune too, right after.
Yeah.
We had Tom Farrell was our manager, and he was getting
right. But I want to give them the information on this too while we got it. You know what I mean? So we got in a little fight one night, and Andy and Johnny went one way, and we went the other way. So I mean, it happens that quick in the rock business. It's just one of those things, man. Unfortunate. But we're still really good friends, all of us, to this day. So we've done a couple reunions and stuff like that, and it's been a lot of fun. So personally, I'm not really bummed that it didn't happen. I believe that everything's for a reason, because I mean I'm not sure if I'd be alive still if we would have got signed.
And that was my last question on this. I mean, Wally, do you have any regrets over how you were handled or how things were handled back then, whether it's between you and your management or maybe the way you handled things personally?
Hell, it was nuts, man. You know what I mean? But God, we had a ball. We were practicing on 19th Street, right next to Lucy and Desi Arnaz, and they were down just a few houses, and it was just right on the beach, and God, we had it going on, man. It was a ball. I wouldn't take back those times for anything, man.
Wally Passet, Benny Petrella, and Loren Kofsky are my guests today on Massacre Radio. They, of course, make up the band Wally World, which has changed throughout over the years. I want to ask you, Wally, about the 90s. We all know Nirvana hit right around 90, 91, right? And it totally eviscerated the 80s glam or the metal sound that was prevalent, right? When that happened, was there any conscious decision or attempt by you to change your sound and kind of go with what was popular, or were you dead set in your convictions and the stuff that you were making at the time?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And, we weren't going to change for anybody, because by then we really didn't care, whether we're signed or not. We're just having fun.
But seriously, though, you guys are very talented. Wally, you shred like no other on some of these songs. It's so awesome. Even though, you were having fun, how could you not want to have been more regional or national? It just seems like a logical step is all I'm saying with all the talent you have, that's all.
Well, it's tricky, you know what I mean? Because we're right next to L.A. Where are you at, Dave? Where are you at right now?
Cleveland, baby.
Oh, you're in nice. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's a good old saying, and it says Cleveland rocks. But, we're really close to L.A., you know what I mean? And like I said, there was that transition. Because, I know Steve Pearcy. I knew Rob Crosby from Ratt really good, you know what I mean? And we've actually sat in with our band, and we played a couple times. There was that transition. You actually needed to make the transition to move to LA, I think, back in the 70s, at least in the late 70s. So, like you said, at the beginning of the 90s, by then, we were like, well, we're just going to play and have fun. And if something happens, killer out of it, we'll do it. If not, then, we're just going to move on and just do the best we can. And kick some ass and get the people crazy, man. Have a good time.
Okay, so earlier I asked you about the spelling of Snakebite. Now I got to ask you about the inspiration for the name Wally World. Is that has to be a reference to National Lampoon's Vacation, right? Either that or you guys must be the biggest Walmart fans on the planet. I mean, what's going on here?
So everybody used to, back in the Neptune days, everyone, when I play, like Neptune was huge, man. And we were giant in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So back then we had to, when I played at a couple places, the people like this dentist guy up here at Club Rio, he was like persistent. He was like, look, I'm like, the band's named Neptune. He's like, I'm going to put Wally's band on the flyer. And I'm like, no. And he's like, no, I insist, or you're not getting paid. So, I just went with it. And from there, me and Kurt and Benny were playing for a while before we brought Loren in. We weren't talking about Loren at all, which we should be.
And I was late in the game.
I don't know what you're eating over there, man, but you better have brought enough for the rest of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that, fellas. I was just eating a salad. Please continue.
So Kurt just went, as a joke, he just went, you know what? Well, when is King Neptune? Why don't we just call it Wally World? And yeah, maybe it could have been a little spoof about the National Lampoon Vacation or whatever, but, and we just went with it, and we've been building that following for, I don't know how long now, but it was like 30 some years.
Yeah, it was 3 decades at least. So it was the 90s.
Yeah.
Whenever I was doing research on your band Wally World, you kept getting described as a comedic type band. Was comedy something you went for with your lyrics and approach, or does that moniker and vibe come from maybe critics or fans misinterpreting your work?
So the thing is that this is another thing. I'm going to go back to Steve Pearcy again from Ratt. So Steve told me, I told him one time, I go, man, they're kind of making fun of us here. And he goes, listen to me. He goes, if they're talking about you, it doesn't matter. He goes, if it's good publicity or bad publicity, you take it. You take whatever you can get in the rock business. And the same thing happened with this video, Raise Some Kaine. We went to the beach, and one of my friends, drummer, put on their world's worst video to try to cut us down. And because of that, it slipped viral. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
even though it went, I would say, viral for sometimes that reason, where the comments were hilarious. Like I would go on YouTube and I would just be dying laughing watching some of the comments that were made about our video on the beach. I mean, to me, I would send my friends to it. This is Loren, by the way. And I would tell them, hey, check out the video, but you got to see the comments, Then I started seeing comments shift, and comments were like, you know what? I can't get this song out of my head. Wow, the chorus is catchy. The drop, the Jimmy chord, you said this song, I can't get it. I keep playing it. And you'd hear people saying that they're watching it 100 times, or they're watching it, or they're listening to the song 10 times a day. The comedy part of it also had a side of people that became serious, that really respected the music and liked the song.
Oh, okay, so based on what you're saying, it's almost as if the comedic angle of it all came about on its own organically.
So it actually says, I went on it the other day, and I was looking at it because I was trying to hear him talk about me. I went to Google, it says Wally Passet is in a whatever Florida area comedic, like you said, pop rock band from garage rock band from Encinitas. And like I said, I don't touch that stuff. When somebody says the more the merrier, say what you will about us. I mean, that's not what we are, but you know what I mean? Maybe we are.
You're listening to Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. My guest today, of course, is the band Wally World from Encinitas, California. Now, Wally, I got hip to you guys, like most folks, through your music video, Raise Some Kaine. I saw it on Instagram for the very first time this year, and I was shocked that it was from 2011 and still making the rounds. And this next question is for any of you guys. What was the idea behind the music video in the first place? Like, why were you like, you know what, let's do a music video on the beach? Just talk about some of the thought behind the concept of the video.
So this friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his names. I'm fucking pissed at him right now. So like, a friend of mine was just like, oh man, just shoot a video. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it then. So I was like, let's go to the beach. You know what I mean? Because I live like, 2 blocks from the beach, Moonlight Beach. So it was like, it was the middle of the thing. And so I grabbed my niece, and she's in the video, and then Lauren's girlfriend, then her wife,
My ex-wife.
I said, hey, take my wife. I take my wife everywhere, but she finds her way home. My wife said she wanted to have sex in the back seat of the car, so she told me to drive. But, yeah, man, and we're getting ready to shoot another one here coming up, man, really quick. We got a brand new song called The Great Messiah, and it's good stuff, man. And we're going to call it the world's second worst video. Guess what? We got a lot of hits on that one of the other ones. You know what I mean?
I think the authentic nature of your music and your performances really lend itself nicely to what you do, and it comes across in the Raise Some Kaine video. It really does.
Oh, well, thank you, dude.
I think that's one of the things that's kept it alive all these years. It's funny because it will die down, and then all of a sudden it will resurge, and it keeps doing it.
Wally Passet, Loren Kofsky, and Benny Petrella are my guests today on Massacre Radio. My favorite part about the Raise Some Kaine video is the intro bit where you're all talking about raising a ruckus and all that. But Loren, I can't help but notice how quiet you were playing the drums. Was that because maybe you came out pounding and the folks on the beach were like, oh, hell no, you can't be doing that? Or were you just being courteous?
All right, so here's the deal. If you look real closely, you'll see the tiniest little boombox down on the sand next to my drum set. And we were trying to sync the track to our playing so it didn't look like we were lip syncing. You could not hear crap on that little boombox.
Okay.
So I had to if you look even closer, you'll see I had a little shirt on my snare drum to try and dampen the sound because we couldn't really hear and play along with the track that well. What we should have done, hindsight, is we should have had a bigger speaker there so we could have synced a little better. So the answer is yes, I was playing reserve because I couldn't hear and I was trying to sync up.
Well, when you put it that way, it does make too much sense. So when you saw the finished product of the video, what were your thoughts on how it turned out? Were you excited or were you kind of bummed, or what were you feeling after watching it, the finished product?
At that particular moment, I don't think we were feeling much. We were pretty whacked that night. No, I mean, we dug it, you know what I mean? It was just, but it didn't really take off, like I said, until that one dude tried to cut us down. It always works that way with me, man. I mean, I've been playing since I was a little kid. You have to take it like one moment at a time. Whatever comes your way, you do the best you can, and you take advantage of it without, strangling each other by the throat.
Now, Wally, I know you said you like reading the comments on your Raising Kaine video, but have any of them ever got to you and kind of cut like a razor? I know these keyboard warriors can cut deep sometimes. They're ruthless, It's like they have two wolves inside of themselves, and both of them are...
Not at all. It doesn't get to me a bit, man. Not at all. Not even a little tiny bit because of what Steve Pearcy taught me. Good things are happening for us. We got this Wally World official site up now, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes. What's the other one?
It's on all the platforms now. And we got Facebook, the Instagram. Yeah, there was a time when maybe that bugged me, you know what I mean? But it just doesn't bug me at all because people have just been talking about me for so long, talking bad about me for so long. I'm not meaning to be stuck up or anything, but when you're good, people are going to talk crap about you, you know what I mean? And they're just going to try to say the meanest things and they're jealous. But, whenever we get together with them when we play, I can always see the fear in their eyes. Like with the bad, now is a lot of good. So, when we're going through the comments now, it's like, before when it was all, people knocking on us. Now, it's someone knocking and then it's someone saying, let's raise a ruckus.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel like Wally World is in the midst of a resurgence or on the uptick even all these years after you released the video for Raise Some Kaine? I mean, it's been 14 years. Do you feel like you're still going strong?
I believe so. I believe right now we're getting ready to get something really good happening. We got other, what's funny? There's the one guitar player from that one band, what are they called? Ministry.
Oh, yeah.
Ministry. Like people from Ministry are like, we got Breaking Benjamin that like digs us.
I was contacted by the guitar player from Ministry just this week, and he asked if there was anything he could do to help us out, including, he said, maybe put a track on one of our new recordings. And then Breaking Benjamin listens to our video before they go on stage. They like our video so much they have it in the tour bus, and
that's another one.
Yeah, they contacted us too. So, we love those guys. And, there's a lot of, fairly famous bands that for one reason or another, they they like Wally World, and they're definitely reaching out to us. And I think we're going to probably get some sort of break here pretty soon due to this, and we'll see where it leads, you know?
Wally Passet, Loren Kofsky, and Benny Petrella are my guests today on Massacre Radio. They, of course, make up the band Wally World. Fellas, I want to ask you about your 2022 album with King Neptune that included remastered old tracks and new songs. What was it like, Wally, revisiting those ancient recordings? And were there any songs or moments from your past that you hesitated to include because maybe it felt too personal or it didn't fit the whole Wally World vibe?
It's not like that. It's just all depend on what I want to do. I make the decisions. You know what I mean? So it's like we've got so many freaking songs. You know, I mean, we could do a bunch of Snakebite songs too, but it's basically what I feel is right for my voice, and then the guys have to groove on it too. You know what I mean? So it's you know, now since we've lost a couple of guitar players, you know, it's just Benny, Loren, and I. You know what I mean? So it's like we have to decide what we want to do, you know what I mean? But ultimately, of course, it's going to be my decision. We're just having fun.
What is the one thing that keeps you guys going and wanting to perform and play music after all of these years?
We do whatever we want. That's what makes it fun. We can do whatever we freaking want. There's nobody telling us what to do. The band's called Wally World, therefore, we do whatever I want, whatever we want.
You mentioned earlier your newest song, The Great Messiah. What's that all about?
It was a blast. We were in the studio fairly recently, about 4 months ago, and 3.5, 4 months ago, and we did this song, The Great Messiah, which is now out on Spotify as well. And we're going to be working on a new video for that song. So that's, you know, it's exciting. We love what we do. We've been playing together for decades, so it's in our blood to do this. And one last thing, I also wanted to let everyone know who listens to the podcast, a lot of people online have been asking us for merchandise. So we do have a merchandise store now available where people can get Wally World swag. Better late than never, huh? Where can the good folks listening at home find you should they want to? So it's wallyworldmerch.com is the new store. It's online, and it's international. I set it up so people can buy in all the different countries because we do have fans in a lot of different places because of the video. The song's called The Great Messiah. The website is wallyworldmerch.com. Go check that out. A couple more questions before I get you guys out of here. You know, I know that Encinitas is a tight-knit community, and you've been a fixture in its music scene since your King Neptune days. Do you have any local rivalries with other bands or any collaborations or untold stories maybe from the scene that shaped Wally World's identity?
There could be. I mean, back in the Neptune days, we had North Rail, and we were playing so much back then. But, I mean,
no, it was rivalries, but, I mean, Stevie Salas.
Sure it was. Yeah, Steve Salas. He sat in with Wally World before, too. Steve Salas, yeah.
Stevie's he's a
good friend of ours.
Most famous, probably, North County musician. He plays with Mick Jagger. He plays with Mick Jagger and
Rod Stewart,
and
he doesn't play with them. He actually played on a track of each one of those guys.
Well, no, he
plays with himself real well. That's just kidding. I'm just joking. Joking, Steve.
And he does those.
Steve Salas is the greatest guitar player in town. Just ask him.
Do you have any more nuggets of wisdom, Wally, you'd like to bestow upon the audience before we end this thing?
I think we wrapped it all up, man. We're doing pretty good there.
Go check out Wally World Official on Instagram to hit the socials.
That's where we're posting some of our home videos that haven't been seen before. Some recent footage of us playing in front of the liquor store. It's all on Wally World Official Band on Instagram.
Wally, Benny, Loren, thank you so much for your time today on Massacre Radio. Hey, next time you guys are out in Cleveland, hit me up. Let's raise some Kaine.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Massacre Radio. Hey, special thanks once again to Wally World Band for joining me on today's program. And I apologize for eating that salad midway through. It's just, you never know when the hunger will strike. Sometimes you just have to salad that shit up. You got to. Yeah, it's no secret that I'm somewhat of a salad freak these days, and I don't mind telling you, I think I'm ready for round 2. That blue cheese and crouton package is beckoning, just calling out to me. As always, I've been your host, Membersonly Dave, and I'll talk at you next week.